But think about the placebo effect. Placebo effect is all about attitude. And you heard the lunchtime speaker talk about attitude. And that's what I really want to talk about today, attitude. Like I said, you've been hit with a fastball between the eyes. When my daughter, I want to talk to the professional caregivers first. Those of you that are professional caregivers. Thank you. Thank you for your hard work. Thank you for your dedication. You should be honored and cherished. Understand something. When someone gets diagnosed with Parkinson's, they're not going to thank you. They're not going to say, oh, thank you so much for diagnosing me with Parkinson's. You did them a favor by letting them know so they could start the medication and such, but you're not going to be thanked. You may not be thanked, but you are appreciated. So professional caregivers understand. And you also get the opportunity to be someone's last best friend. Cherish that role. Sometimes last best friend. And put yourself in the shoes of the family members. They've already got a full plate. They've already got a lot to do. They have family. They have activities. They have work. And this is a big burden for them. They also have been thrown for a loop because they have to change their lifestyles because they love you. And that's a wonderful thing, but a big burden on them. So cherish and thank your family caregivers. Sometimes when someone is a care receiver, they're not always in the best mood because you're dealing with a lot of stuff. You're dealing with stiffness, you're dealing with pain. So you also don't get thanked a lot. Well, you are not thanked a lot, but you are appreciated. So let me say thank you to you people as well. Thank you very much, family caregivers. My daughter, Katie, was born without lungs. And she had to have operations throughout her first 60 days. She had a 40% chance of survival. My son once asked me, what's the worst thing that ever happened in your life? What's the worst thing that ever happened in your life? And I don't just answer my children right off the cuff. They hate that. Dad, just answer the stupid question. I think about it a little bit, and I make a decision how to answer it. And what I answered to him was, the next day I said to him, nothing. And he said, what do you mean nothing? It's got to be something. And I said, she didn't die. Your sister did not die. I imagined her funeral. I was there. I was physically there in my mental state. And I imagined the funeral. And it didn't happen. That comes from a different perspective, positive perspective. And when it comes to him, he's a great kid. And he's gone through a lot because he was an only child for the first 5 years, and then we had to deal with this issues. So it's something to be thanked that the caregivers are that way. Focus forward. Like I said, placebos are just that. If the placebo effect is just attitude, it's just mental attitude. When I was diagnosed with Parkinson's, I was a pretty big athlete. I used to play a lot of sports. I really lost the ability to do that. So what I did was I tried to find some alternative to it. And what I did was I had bought a 5-acre lot that I wanted to build on. And it was all wooded. So I went out and bought a chainsaw. I'm serious. I went out and bought a chainsaw, and I bought it at a discount retail store, and it was a piece of junk. So I brought it back. And I went to another one, and it was a piece of junk, and I brought it back. And this is an advertisement for steel because I went and got a steel. And if you know anything about chainsaws, this thing is amazing. Like cuts like butter. And I cut down 50 trees over 9 months on the weekends. And it was excruciating painful. I was dead tired by the end of the time. But you know what? I live in that house today on that property. I had something to do with it. I needed to do something physical to take the place of my athletics. And I feel like I was a part of that. So do something memorable for yourself. Create a legacy. Make a difference. Do something that personal to you. Do an honest self-assessment. I talk about success skills, and I talk about how to, and success skills don't stop when you become a successful person in a career. You're using them every day. So spend the time to evaluate what you want to do. Everyone here who's taken an active role in the Parkinson's movement has those legacy issues. They try to make a difference. I also created my own bucket list, and one of them was skydiving. So at 50 years old, for the first time, I went out and did a skydive. And I was petrified. I'll never do it again. When we got up to 5,000 feet, I said, "We ready to go?" And the pilot said, "No, we're going up to 10,000 feet." I said, "Okay." Got up to 10,000 feet, and my tandem partner said, "We're going now." I said, "Well, let me think about it." And we were out. He says it was 30 seconds before I pulled the ripcord. It felt like a second and a half. We were adjusting and figuring out what we're doing. I looked at my altimeter and said, "I got to pull this thing." And the parachute opened. And when I think about the parachute opening, I think about the faith you have to have in your other people, faith in support groups, the faith in your doctors and professional caregivers. It's important to have faith in them. You've been hit with a fastball between the eyes. Get the attention that you need. Don't try to do it on your own. Spend the time getting to know, getting educated. Come to conferences like this, and you're well on your way for that. I want to read something that Gary Allan is a singer-songwriter, country music, and I love the words of this song that he wrote. "Life ain't always beautiful. Sometimes it's just plain hard. Life can knock you down, it can break your heart. But the struggles make you stronger, and the changes make you wise, and happiness has its own way of taking its sweet time. No, life ain't always beautiful, but I know I'll be fine. Hey, life ain't always beautiful, but it's a beautiful ride. What a beautiful ride." And what's important there is to say, life is not about the destination, it's about the journey. You're still on a journey. Let me tell you a story about what happened to me when I was in New Orleans. I used to live in New Orleans. My wife called around 3 o'clock in the afternoon and said, "There's a mouse in the house." And I said, "What do you want me to do about it?" She said, "Come home now." So I being a dutiful husband, I came home and I brought a trap, one of those glue traps. And she said, "Well, it's gone now." I said, "Well, we'll put the glue trap down and we'll get the mouse." So I checked the trap a couple times, no mouse. 3 o'clock the next day at work, I got another call. "It's caught." "Honey, what do you think was going to happen to the mouse? It gets caught in the trap. It's a glue trap." "Well, it's squeaking. So come home." I said, "Okay, I'll come home." So I come home and I get the mouse trap. I get the trap. And I'm going to go throw it away. And she says, "What do you mean just throwing it away? You got to put it out of its misery." I said, "Honey, I'm wearing new shoes and a new suit. What do you want me to do?" She says, "Take this shovel and tap it." So I said, "Okay." So we lived on a corner, and I went to the side of the house, and I put down the trap, and I didn't want to, I didn't want to overdo it, so I took the shovel and I tapped it. And I looked at it, and the fur was still moving. And I tap it again. Fur is still moving. Tap it again. Just then, I felt like there was some eyes on me. And I looked across the street, and there was this old black lady, had to be 95 years old, on a rocking chair. And I'm thinking to myself, I must look ridiculous. And I look at her, and she looks at me, and our eyes meet, and she's sitting there in the rocking chair, and she says, "If it ain't dead yet, it ain't gonna die." And I thought about getting Parkinson's. You ain't dead yet. For those of you that are family caregivers, I know it's a lot of issues. I know you've got a lot of burden, a lot of stress on you. But your loved one is still alive. Cherish that. Enjoy the time you have left. Do things together. Make a difference, whatever that difference may be. Everyone has a legacy. Everyone has a purpose in life. You may have found your purpose with Parkinson's. That's a good thing. It's a benefit. It's a positive thing. So I'll leave you with that. Hopefully, my words have made a difference for you. We've had a great presentation and a great day. Sometimes Parkinson's can be depressing. Duh. When you read the stuff about what the symptoms could be, it's depressing. Well, look at the good side. In fact, have your caregiver, don't read foundation newsletters. Foundation newsletters are trying to raise money. They're going to tell you the worst of the worst stories. Have your caregiver read those. Let them filter those. Just read the good stuff, the Tai Chi, the massages, the aerobic therapy, the whatever, Tai Chi, whatever floats your boat. So try to keep as positive an attitude as possible in spite of the fact that you've been hit with a curveball or actually a fastball right between the eyes. Thank you.